Enga Province, in the western reaches of the highlands of Papua New Guinea, is the highest and second most rugged province in the country. It's long been referred to as the last province. Bordering Hela, East Sepik, Madang, Western and Southern Highlands, and comprised of 6 districts, Enga Province was established in 1973, just 2 years before Papua New Guinea gained independence from Australia. While a certain level of basic development had taken place in all of PNG's other provinces, on the 16th of September 1975, when Papua New Guinea became a nation, Enga was the only province starting from scratch.
Most of the infrastructure in this place have been done to the credit of the Enga provincial government, especially the current one. Because when we broke off from Western Highlands, there was basically no infrastructure. Schools, high schools, secondary schools, nothing. Only one high school at that time established, and that was St. Paul's Lutheran High School in Wapanamanda.
The province languished for its first 20 years, plagued with instability and labelled as a no-go zone, which severely affected progress.
I was involved in the previous provincial government system as the Secretary of the Department of Enga, and that was in 1994, 93, 94, 95, that bit. And basically nothing happened. Nothing happened. We hardly got anything going.
During this tumultuous period, a young man from Irelya village in Wabag district entered the fray at the age of 21, learning the ropes in local level government as a councillor for Wabag Council, dealing with the nuances of this volatile place, understanding the unique challenges of his area and forming ideas for his vision for Enga Province.
As a councillor, I saw what was needed at the grassroots level, the ward level. I would say that the province was in a bit of disarray. There was political instability, non-functional public service. You couldn't see much government service being delivered to the people of the province. A lot of tribal fights. And so at the time, there was a lot of negative perception about the province.
In July 1997, Peter Ipatas became the governor for Enga Province. He entered his new role with 18 years' experience already under his belt as a councillor and set to work transforming the province.
You may proud nothing. You may have money proud nothing. For a change we must action it. This last proudness for him, yeah.
And things started changing in 1997, 98 onwards, when this government came in. He set up the administrative core. He aligned his local government councils very well.
The first task was to establish government presence and authority, beginning with the construction of the provincial headquarters. Then district offices in Lyagam, Wapanamanda and Kandep, and sub-district headquarters in 5 of the more remote areas.
You will talk about the government that's being proactive is this one. People who want to know about development should come here.
In the far western reaches of the last province, a lucrative mineral deposit in the earth was opened up in 1989, and a year later, the Porgera gold mine had begun production. It's the 3rd largest gold mine in the world.
The mine, I guess, is the biggest economic activity in the province. When the mine was started in 1989 or 2000, there was nothing much in Porgera. It was a small government station at the end of the highway. The development since then has been amazing.
It's been the wealth from this mine that's kick-started Enga's emergence into the modern world.
It's produced over 20 million ounces up to this point has a workforce of about 3,500 with a permanent workforce of about 2,000. 95% of the employees are Papua New Guineans. Probably half of those are local Engans. There is also the compensation money for land areas that are occupied. There is also royalty. The local Hogara community do enjoy 50% of the royalty that's generated from the mine. 50% is retained by the provincial government and 50% by the local landowners. We are very fortunate to have the stability, political stability in Enga Province because of the governor's presence over the last 21 years. He has really provided the leadership that's required to ensure that a significant business operation continues to operate and prosper in Pogra or in Enga Province. It is not a one-sided affair. The governor also, has demands on us in terms of, projects that need to be developed in his province. So, for example, a good chunk of the tax credit funds over the years have been utilized by the governor and his provincial team to generate infrastructure in the whole province.
The presence of the Porgera mine also birthed one of the province's most significant assets, the Enga Children's Fund. It's a property portfolio established in 1998 with funds from Enga's preemptive rights after the national government sold shares in Porgera, a 7 million kina investment now valued in excess of 100 million kina.
What it does is complements the education program in the province. For instance, if a school is in need of a vehicle, the Children's Fund helps. If there is a need for computers, if there is a need for equipments, infrastructure in certain schools, then obviously the board decides to assist them. So over the years, we spend more than 3 million kina a year on such projects.
But the Enga Children's Fund is significant not just for its value and the contribution it makes, but also for signalling the cornerstone of the Enga provincial government policy that has endured for 21 years, investing in its human capital, beginning with children through education.
When Enga is geographically seen, it's right at the end of the highway. We are in the interior. We have less opportunity to make cash. And so education was and will always be our priority.
In 1997, the Enga governor announced his free education policy. Back then, Enga had fewer than 10,000 students enrolled.
The student numbers were not there. I don't think leadership before me had stressed the idea that education is the way forward. Without education, you can't get far in this modern world. And so I started the free education program in '97 to try and get the kids into the classrooms. The national government was not able to give us money for this program. But since we had royalties coming in from Porgera, we were able to have free education.
Today, enrolments are well over 100,000, ranging from elementary through to tertiary institutions, and the province now has the highest rate of enrolment in tertiary institutions in the country.
We want to make sure our secondary schools, our colleges, our primary schools, our elementary schools are the best in the country.
The Enga provincial government has spent more than 300 million kina on education over the last 21 years, and development continues. All over the province there's expansion, and there's also improvement. Enga is embracing the digital future in its classrooms, rolling out computer rooms in all of its high schools and secondary schools. At Coppin Secondary School, these teachers are sitting down for the first time in their brand new computer room. They'll learn the ropes first and then supervise their students.
They're all excited because this is a new sort of field, but I'm very certain some of the students even know more than us. And here is a time that we have to learn from them as well.
The schools will have an e-library, internet as well, and the computers are there for both students and the teachers. It gives them that extra edge, a competitive edge to be better. So they don't have to go and look for information or struggle to go to town to find their textbooks and the right resources. Everything is now at the doorstep. The world is here.
Okay, let's hear the year ones and the elementary.
At Enga Teachers College, these students are in training to teach the next generation.
We have two programs running here. We have the primary program, which is a diploma, which runs for 3 years. And we have the elementary teacher training. We have 381 on the roll, 381 students.
This is the only teachers' college in the country built by a provincial government, a partnership between Enga, the national government, and tax credits from the Porgera joint venture. The college was established in 2011 with just a single 4-in-1 classroom.
This long classroom, which is about 100 meters long, is by Enga provincial government. It costs 12 million. The brand new admin building called Peter O'Neill Administration Building is 10.5 million. And all of these flats here cost 1 million kina.
Thanks to the Papua New Guinea Australia partnership, the Enga Teachers College will be getting a new 10 million kina classroom block, which will include a library, science and computer laboratories, and be accessible to people living with disabilities. The expansion will allow the college to produce an additional 300 trained teachers in the next 5 years.
The last 5 years, with the Honourable Peter O'Neill being Prime Minister, he's been able to give us more funding than initially. So the province has now tried to realign or have another vision for the next 20-50 years, and that is to make Enga an education and health hub. So more focus is from the provincial level gone into higher learning institutions in the province.
Right next door to the Teachers College is the IBS College, which was established here in 2012.
And our job is to give an international degree, quality education, and we have a tie-up with Southern Cross University. And we're offering courses in business, finance, accounting, and information technology. And both are 3-year course, a degree course. And it's purely funded by Enga provincial government. The facilities we provide here. The campus is with Wi-Fi connectivity, free Wi-Fi connectivity, 24/7. And we give them free textbook and giving them free uniform and a laptop too. That makes the quality education exciting.
If anything epitomises Enga's determination and persistence with progress, it's the Nursing College at Sopas, originally a Seventh-day Adventist hospital.
Since the 1950s, the missionaries came here and started this place as a hospital, and then started a school of nursing as well. In 1999, we started the diploma course here in this school. We were the ones at SOPAS that piloted the diploma program in the country. End of 2000, we closed the place up because of tribal fighting.
But with support from the provincial government, more than 18 million kina has been spent to rebuild and reopen the nursing school. 4.8 million kina from the Australian government went into the construction of a new female student dormitory, kitchen and dining hall, while the Enga provincial government provided 2.2 million kina for the construction of a new male student dormitory. The development saw a cease to fighting, and after more than a decade, newly trained nurses began graduating from here again in 2017.
And the students come from all over Papua New Guinea. It's about 35 to 40 students per year.
Through all of this development, partnerships is a common theme. Enga's governor actively seeks out strong partnerships, finding common goals with outside organisations such as the Australian government.
I got a very early invitation from the governor of Enga to come up, and at that stage we were working at the nursing college. He invited me up to be part of the groundbreaking for that. It gave me a great early taste of the work that's going on here. It really grew from that very keen interest on my part to see how we could come in to back the very strong priorities that were being set within the province itself, and that very long-term engagement and commitment and vision to sound education, which is, as everyone knows, been a very long-term passion of Governor Ipatas, was a great foundation in a way for us to then look at how we could come in, support, work with the priorities already established within the province and see what our contribution could be.
In Wapanamanda district, work has begun on the establishment of another educational institution, the Hela Opene Polytech, which will also serve neighbouring Hela and Southern Highlands provinces.
These are institutions that we have established to try and create an economy for the province, and into the future we want to have Enga to be successful like other provinces where you can try and keep most of the activity within your own province. Yeah.
In remote Shark Valley, another batch of students is graduating from Kungumanda Community Health Worker College, which is run by the Foursquare Church. Churches are a key partner for the Enga provincial government.
I promise.
Now today we graduated 29 students from all around the country, including Bougainville and Solomon Islands, even in the Pacific region.
Congratulations, all of you. This is a noble profession.
One thing I must say is our governor, Honorable Peter Ipatas, he's an excellent man in the province, and we enjoy working with him because he doesn't just say words of partnering, but partnering is in action. Without him, I don't think this existence of this community health workers training school in Kungumanda will not happen. Providing finance every year is a provincial government's commitment to this institution, and we are alive and moving in this province in the health services because of our excellent governor.
Kompiam Ambum in the northeast of Enga is one of Papua New Guinea's most isolated districts. Here, literally at the end of the road, is the last place you'd expect to find a health facility like this. This is the Kompiam District Hospital, run by the Enga Baptist Health Services.
The Enga Provincial Government entered into an agreement with the local Baptist church here back in 1997, I think it was, to take over the health services, the administration of the health services in this part of Enga. And I came on board as Med Super in the middle of 1999. This baby was born by caesarean section last night.
Over the past 19 years, Dr. David Mills has overseen much change, bringing in design innovation and new technology, including entering into a development project with the international charity Architects Without Frontiers.
So this is the paediatric ward, the ward for children, and this was the first of the new buildings that was built in our cooperation with Architects Without Frontiers. The hospital was being redeveloped in 5 stages, so this was the end of stage 1, and that was opened back in 2013, I think, from memory.
Stage 2, a new maternity ward, was opened in 2016. The building includes a storage room with solar batteries, allowing the hospital to operate on 24-hour 240-volt solar power.
This is in the labour ward section of the maternity building. Just behind you is the neonatal intensive care So we have facilities now to be able to have at least 2 women labouring at the same time with their own private shower toilet area, and again it's all solar powered, so we can have what we need in terms of light and oxygen. The machine you can hear in the background, that's our oxygen concentrators running.
The hospital now has 54 beds, with plans to expand this to around 80, and offers full medical, surgical and obstetric services, delivering about 200 babies a year, roughly 1/5 of all births in the district. The challenge is to create access to maternal health services for the 80% of women in the district who deliver at home, deep in the bush.
We've also got another 10 centres now that we administer in addition to the hospital, and that's been slowly growing, spreading out all over the province.
And with more work to be done to expand the hospital, having reliable funding is essential for its future.
Dr. Mills, I'm pleased to hand over 250,000 kina today.
The Governor particularly, I have to say, has been very supportive of this particular project, and whenever he's able, he's been able to chip in some funds.
Yambul Health Centre is another church-run facility run by the Catholic Church, which has received ongoing support from the provincial government.
My name is Katie Paul. I'm a senior nursing officer working here. This is Yambul Health Centre. And I came here 1994. First time when I was here, we only have one ward and maternity. We were looking at all the patients in one section, and we didn't have the clinics. So now we have many clinics we are doing, and ward, and more staffs are here. We have about 25 staffs working in shift work. So that has been a big change. And our health center, I see that we are doing a lot of work here and lots of changes. So our whole kitchen and storeroom has been burned down in 2015 by electric fault. So Governor, he put up this new building for us. He has contributed about 300,000 to assist in this building. So we really appreciate now that we have the new kitchen here, and we have new medical storeroom, and patients are able to sit inside and eat.
Emmanuel District Hospital at Mambisanda, just outside of Wapanamanda, is one of the oldest health facilities in Enga, established by the Lutheran missionaries in the late 1950s. For a time, it served as the provincial hospital. But now, Enga is set to step up to another level in health services. In early 2018, on 35 hectares of land not far from Wabag Rugby League field, construction began on one of the biggest projects ever to be undertaken in the history of Enga Province, a new state-of-the-art provincial hospital. The contract to build the hospital was awarded to Guangdong Foreign Construction Company with funding from Exim Bank of China and the Papua New Guinea National Government.
The provincial hospital, which is going to be built at about 500 million kina, is a very big project. The hospital, as far as we're concerned, will be a best-run hospital. We intend to make it a very efficient and people-friendly hospital, so that we can try and get to service not only Engans but people from throughout the country.
The hospital will have a total bed capacity of 180 inpatient beds, 12 units of self-care accommodation for expectant and breastfeeding mothers, and includes staff accommodation. Less than a year on and the hospital site has been transformed. The construction is expected to be completed in 2020.
When I joined this government in 2003, it was already in play. The idea was already there. When I came in, I just joined the ship. And then since 2003, if my memory is right, we've been pushing on this project. It's taken all this time. Some of these projects, of course, can be done in 1 year. Others, it takes 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So which means you would need to have consistent government to get this done.
And the remote outer areas haven't been forgotten either. At Tukusanda in Lyagam, one of 4 new community health posts, a 22 million kina project being funded in partnership with the Australian Government and the Asian Development Bank.
So that's the new way forward. It will be delivering services to more than 5,000 people. And these are more upgraded facilities. And ADB is assisting or funding, and the provincial government counterparts funds as well.
All this infrastructure is being matched with programs addressing health issues in the rural and remote areas.
Our bulk of the population, as you can see in Enga, is rural. This place is geographically difficult, but we also have an advantage of speaking one language. So we can be able to send messages across to everyone. We also have JICA on board, who is funding our community health volunteer program and our mobile clinic program for mothers, and to an NGO called ANS PNG, who is helping to do our village health volunteer programs and mothers and girls programs. And we also have the UN system who's working with us. We have Tribal Foundation who is also assisting with the V-scan for women, because a lot of, as you know, the country has high maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, so we are looking at all this. And we have Global Fund coming on board for our TB and leprosy programs, WHO, UNFPA, UNICEF. So we have a lot of partners. We want to be a role model. We want to be an example to others, other provinces, so that the service delivery is effective, efficient, is accessible by our population.
There is no doubt about the fertility of land in Enga and the gardening abilities of its people.
Our province is divided into 2 zones, 2 parts. And we have the high altitude areas where we grow vegetables, mainly potatoes, carrots, strawberries. We have the lower altitude areas. That's where coffee and other things grow.
Coffee is synonymous with the PNG highlands. It was one of the country's first big export commodities. Now there's a push to revive our coffee industry, and Enga Province is part of it.
Wapnamata Coffee Factory has been established in partnership with Enga Provincial Government in 2004 to provide market access to our small farmers around the province, because there is not many coffee factories in the province.
The factory has also entered an agreement with the Productive Partnerships in Agriculture project.
We have profiled 900 farmers in Wapanamanda, and we have assessed their productions. We encourage the farmers to rehabilitate their coffee trees, and we have rehabilitated about 30% of the coffee trees that we have profiled.
Coffee is an international commodity, and we must produce this coffee to meet the requirement of our consumers overseas. That has been a challenge. So through the PPAP partnership that we have just introduced, we're trying to reintroduce the quality that is being demanded in the overseas markets.
Since I got into office, we've always tried to find agriculture project that will sustain our small people's income.
At Sirunki in Lyagam district, this dream is being realised. A 15-hectare commercial agro-industrial centre has been established in partnership with Israeli company Innovative Agro Industries to supply vegetables to the nation's supermarkets under the company Enga AIC.
Thanks to the national government, they have injected 11 million into the project on our behalf, and then we look forward to another 6 million, which will make our contribution 17 million, and the Israelis will have 6 million kina capital injection in the project, making it a 23 million kina project.
when Israel come inside, and we will assist him, all Israel, working bunnies around. And we are done building construction on me, we will start one day more, I'll be more long. How came house?
We have agreement to do a vegetable project that now is concentrating on giving opportunity to our small people to grow vegetables like potatoes, strawberries, carrots, bulb onion, and so forth.
Then now, we go out long, farm, one day more farmers, yeah, we got 350 farmers one time me. Now all growing potato, now all selling here with quality potato.
Timothy Masali. Mi blasa mi one time mama Misia mi blasa planting potato. Within 3 months time, potatoes I start being sell ground. Now mi blasa harvesting, digging. Now walking back to go selling.
The potatoes are sold at this collection point and stored in cool rooms before being transported to Port Moresby for packaging and sale in the supermarkets.
And then we must work we must carry more good all potato come here. Bulb onions, strawberry, one of them growing farmer, we must bring good low here so that we can sell more good low country.
We play look at one from market. Now market companies to Sirugi, no Enga. Now me like lo planning mode, na C2 minute. Potato plus surungi, high quality one. Also, Papua New Guinea by knitting potato plus surungi more.
From May 2017 to the end of 2018, the project has brought more than 1.5 million kina into the local economy, with a target of producing 2,500 tonnes of fresh produce a year and bringing 50 million kina into the province annually.
This is one project that will really change the landscape of Enga, because everybody has got land, everybody can grow all this produce.
The agriculture project complements another of the provincial government policies to encourage the participation of women in the economy through a microfinance scheme for women to set up businesses.
Business lo me start long, garden. Me only potato seed me planning. Me sali me kisi money, me working one bla legal house kagaruk. Nasar lo kagaruk, okay me kisi money, me working one bla fig tree, lo lugar in peak. Na me all in peak. This time me selling lo 8,000. Okay, long garden potato na kagaruk na fig. LB me working man bla legal store, trade store, start long end. Me working, you go kissing money, now me roasting again, me working big bla legal. Now I'm starving, you bla looking. Now money me kissing lo store, okay, now meeting him again, me working this la house. This la house I blow rent. Half step na down step. Me working two bla house. One bla night, me sub rent long. 1 room 100 kina. Lo all the district lo Enga Province, we like a 6 district staff Enga Province. Governor sang give money was them. Na microfinance sang give money was them. Na mibla sab sindan long. And blow microfinance.
Like most of Papua New Guinea, much of Enga Province is without electricity. With a population of between 500 and 600,000, fewer than 10% have access to electricity. But that is changing. 3.5 million kina has been spent so far by the Enga provincial government on an electrification project which includes bringing power lines from Wabag out to the west of the province. And in Wapanamanda district, the people in the Shark Valley, Mambisanda and Lower Lai Valley were connected to power for the first time in April 2018.
As we try to grow the economy and more activities in the province, we need reliable power, and because we are on the head of the highway. Yonke Power, that is the power that's currently giving us electricity in Enga, is unreliable because of the length of the grid.
PNG Power gives us 2 megawatts for Enga. And we realize that once we have the infrastructures coming up and, like the hospital, it'll need a lot of power there. Enga Teachers College, the Highlands University, the Enga College of Nursing, all these things will require power, electricity.
It just so happens that Enga Province is blessed with an abundance of flowing water, the perfect ingredient for hydroelectricity. Lomban Falls on the Lai River just outside of Wabag is the site for a new 120 million kina hydro power plant that will supply 7 megawatts of power. And at Pilikambi in Lagaip district, plans are in motion for an even bigger one. Both high-impact, transformative projects.
We are in Lagaip headwaters. We are trying to build a dam there. You see that limestone there? With the use of that stone, we will block the river, and the river will sit back. We'll pipe it down to where the Pilikambi district headquarters is. We will pipe it down all the way, and then later you will see the powerhouse where we will actually produce power. So it's a partnership, public-private partnership project. Enga Provincial Government under the leadership of Sir Peter Ipatas is partnering with AG Investment. It will produce about 10 to 12 megawatts.
We hope to start to produce our own power to try and meet our own provincial needs, and of course sell back what is left over to the program mine as well as PNG Power.
Transportation infrastructure is central to Enga's development goals, having road networks and air links for service delivery, business and for visitors. In 2002, the Enga Provincial Government began subsidising flights to Wapanamanda Airport. Over time, it's grown from 1 flight a week to around 10 flights a week, serviced both by Air New Guinea and PNG Air. The annual subsidy has stimulated demand for this vital service, saving people the extra cost of travelling by road to Mount Hagen and enabling them to fly direct to Port Moresby. The Enga Provincial Government also provided 5 million kina to fence the airport in 2014. And the National Airport Corporation has committed 38 million kina to an apron extension, resealing of the existing runway and construction of a new terminal commencing in early 2019. The provincial government even provides a free shuttle bus service from the airport to Wabag town for arriving passengers. The roads in and around Enga's main centres have all been well developed and maintained. But getting roads to the province's remotest corners is still a work in progress. And progress in Enga is often severely hindered by the enormous distraction and drain on resources due to one of Enga's biggest issues. Tribal fighting has been a constant cycle of life in Enga.
Law and order still is a big challenge for us. It's there at a manageable level, but we could do better without these problems. It's a self-inflicted problem by our own people. People must educate themselves, and by now they must realize that tribal fights is not a good thing for them. It's only setbacks at development. We lose lives, we lose properties, and that is still my biggest challenge.
It does affect a lot of developments by way of kids not attending to classes, business not followed because of frequent roadblocks due to tribal fights. The normal business activity come to a standstill when two tribes come together, clash together.
During the elections, it cost us about 5 million kina for that one year. That's a substantial amount of money that could have built one infrastructure. Could be a road, could have been a bridge, could have been schools, could have been health centers. But on average, we spend about 2 million plus the national grants and the salaries paid to police by the national government, the village court officials, you're looking at the overall expenditure of about 5 to 6 million on an average every year. When you look at the national government input as well as ours. So that's substantial money.
So that's where the forum was organized.
In 2017, Law and Order was chosen as the theme for the annual Enga Development Forum. It brought together the nation's leaders from the police and justice with stakeholders in the province, sending the message that the provincial government was serious about addressing law and order.
Our issue in Enga is law and order. Yes, my good ministers, the national government can give us money to build infrastructure, I support it. But to sustain and to make sure that these services continue to be sustainable, the first thing we must have is law and order.
There will not be any solutions on the ground if the community leaders do not take ownership. And I was seeing that here. All the community leaders that are here, churches that are here, members of the provincial government that are here. I take my hats off to the governor for actually coming up with the topic that we have now. It is very timely. We need to have this conversation.
And it's time that we start to look at it seriously.
We have the political will. Now let's take ownership at the community level.
Previous processes who are leaders here have given less prominence to law and order. So the division was not beefed up by resources, funds for fuel, funds for transportation, to attend to trouble by immediately. This has never been there. So when the governor took office, this was, there was a big turnaround.
Correctional services have also been given a boost. Construction of a new prison is underway. But part of preventing law and order problems from happening in the first place lies in the development opportunities that the governor is bringing to Enga.
For the last 5 years, I can honestly say that we have less trouble fight, and where most trouble fights happen in Lagaib district. Having this, micro agriculture project up there, and if the people put their hands into the soil, they will know that money is in the pocket and why fighting. So some of this, I feel that Enga will change for the better.
Sport has long been seen as an instrument for positive change. And as one of Papua New Guinea's greatest rugby league fanatics, Enga's governor has harnessed this passion he shares with his people and aligned it with his key policies. The Enga Miocs took out the minor premiership in the 2018 national competition, the Digicel Cup, and are a unifying force for the province.
We are mobilizing, of course, our people, especially the youth population, to turn away from, of course, law and order. For the last 21 years, there is an avenue to turn, of course, the youth population, of course, to engaging them, of course, in sports, and in this case, of course, in rugby league.
But it's the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup that's creating a legacy spreading beyond the province and across all 4 regions of the nation.
The main motive behind Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup is to employ raw talents and discover them and promote them to levels like the Antas and the Kumuls, and expose them to overseas competitions as well. Yeah. So mostly they come from school age, mixture of school age and those who are unemployed and who are back in the rural areas. Yeah.
Since it began in 2001, 132 rural youths have made national competition selection through the Ipatas Cup competition. As dawn breaks over Wabag and the morning fog starts to lift, a now familiar sight in Enga comes into view, one of the province's true homegrown success stories. Mapai Transport is owned by Engan trucker Jacob Luke. He began the operation in 1985 with just one truck. Capitalising on the resources boom, today the company has over 100 trucks, with depots in Mount Hagen, Lae, Goroka, as well as internationally in Brisbane and New Zealand. In Wabag town, there are more signs of business confidence and opportunity. To ensure the capital had banking facilities, the provincial government paid for the construction of the BSP branch building.
I run a company called K-Star Construction that is to deal with the civil construction, and I have another company called Nano Construction that is to do with the architectural projects. And I built another hotel called Repeater Hotel. I went and approached the bank, National Development Bank and also BSP Bank. And National Development Bank said, we can fund it, but there is a law and order problem in Enga. How would you stop that? I told them, you trust me, I will make sure that nothing will happen to the hotel that I want to put it in. But you see, now you're coming here sleeping. Some of these big executive people, they always come and sleep here. I take that opportunity, although they think it was a risky job, but I took it head on. Now it's coming up and I really appreciate it. I made the right decision in my life.
For Paul Kurai, establishing Enga's only 3-star hotel has been timely, coinciding with a push from the provincial government to amp up development and promotion of tourism in the province. Perched high on a mountain range amid ancient forests, Kumul Lodge is the 3rd most frequently visited birdwatching site in the world.
In every district now, as we're speaking, we've got lodges coming up, and that's targeted for the tourism thing. The first project that this government assisted and initiated a local community go was the Kumul Lodge. Now it's an internationally recognized thing. We never had any lodges. We only had the Dawan, and that was the only hotel in the province, and in Pogra it was the Mountain Lodge. But now in every district you've got a lodge. The provincial government is very proactive in that. Every year it makes a budget, makes a certain allocation to some of the lodges that we can, with the money that we have, and so that they can at least extend and improve the facilities.
Yaskom Lodge on the edge of Lake Ivai at Sirunki has made the most of its location and the provincial government funding, building this deck and viewing platform for guests and visitors along the highway to stop, relax and take in the view. The lake is a stunning attraction. This is the source of the Lai River, which is the major tributary that forms the Sipik River. And it's absolutely breathtaking at sunset. From here, visitors can take a tour to the ancient salt ponds in nearby Yokanda village, a new attraction that recently welcomed its first tour group.
7 generation
The visit to the Yokanda Salt village, it was a big lesson in the making of salt that I'd never seen before. I never knew that people could extract salt like the people from Yokanda village did, and they demonstrated it to us and also gave us some, and it's the most delicious salt. Coming to Enga has been an absolute eye-opener to me. How vibrant the people are, how welcoming they are, but I was also impressed by the fertile landscape and by the fecundity of the valleys and the beauty of the gardens.
Trying to build economic activities in the province. One of them is tourism.
We think at this point in time, we feel that after 22 years, we feel that the province is ready to actually bring in tourists. We will be able to look after the tourists because we've got enough lodges and hotels in the province. The roads are pretty good here. The people, they especially give money to our small people who are engaged in activities like traditional salt making. These are people who actually don't have opportunity to make money. So we're hoping that over the years, we can build a good tourism base.
Many of Enga's traditional customs are still alive and practiced. It's not uncommon to come across ceremonies like this as you drive around the province. This is a bride price ceremony somewhere along the road in Kompiam district. Indeed, Enga's biggest attractions for visitors are anchored in culture, tradition and history. And the centrepiece is the exceptional Takianda Museum, which houses a rich collection of Enga's traditional knowledge and values.
In 1985, I myself with Professor Polly Wisner, who's an anthropologist from the United States, we started to document the Enga's oral history. Our research was completed in 1996, so it took a good 10 years. We are quite happy and feel fortunate that we've been able to do that. And that is what is housed here. As a people, you have to know where you came from, who you are, how you exist. Before contact was established, how the Enga people existed, how they traded, how they looked at each other as being human beings, we think should be preserved and passed on.
That's an amazing museum. The value of it as a museum seems to be that it's about the values of the people who live here. I found it really, really educational and quite moving in parts. I was enormously impressed. I think it's one of the best museums I've ever seen, really.
Culture and tradition are also celebrated every year through the staging of the Enga Cultural Show. It's the biggest annual event in the province.
To preserve our culture, for the younger generation to know where our forefathers came, what our myths were, legends were, and who we are and what we are. So that's the whole idea. And our traditional attire was dying, but since the introduction of the show, it's like we are back to where we were, where we started. Everybody has costumes now, and they always look forward for the 3-day event. That event is held second weekend of August every year.
The show was first held in 1994. Today, it's highly regarded for its traditional authenticity. More than 2 decades on, and its original goal of preserving cultural knowledge still remains. And it's also become a draw card for visitors to the province.
Today you look in. This place over me look in, well, can money comes in here. All overseas tourists comes in here. And me show him also this place legally show him even all in. Long 22 years ago finish. And now by Spanish. This 23 year show is showing us into the future. 24, 25 they go same. And by come a big plan more.
In 2018, 20,000 people attended, including 65 tourists.
The show exceeded my expectations. I mean, I'd gone on YouTube and looked at some of the footage of the show, but it was even more extraordinary than I felt. First of all, it's big, it's massive, and the music is extraordinary, and the dancing, and the different, beautiful, different expressions of physical culture in the costumes and the faces is so powerful.
The development of tourism is not only aimed at boosting the local economy through visitor spending in the province, there is also a link to addressing law and order issues.
It is making a deterrence to law and order issues. Where there is a lodge, there is less number of fight there. People are conscious that there is investment in place.
Now everyone see that law and order is gradually going down and tourism is going to grow, and I see a lot of potential in there.
And there's confidence in the province and its people from important partners like PNG Power.
I know that in Enga we have really terrific leadership. If you have leadership, you can get just about anything done.
Even the most remote parts of Enga are starting to gain attention. In 2017, Kundep District welcomed Australian High Commissioner Bruce Davis, the first Australian High Commissioner to ever visit the area. But perhaps Enga's deepest relationship, and the one that first guided it into modernity even before PNG became a nation, is with the churches. This is the 20th Enga Dedication Day. It's been held every year across the province since it was first introduced in 1998.
This provincial government passed a law. April 17th of every year is dedication time. The province goes for dedication. It says, thank the Lord for everything He's done for us.
It's an uplifting occasion when all denominations come together to reaffirm the province and its people's dedication to God. Indeed, the blessings have come. In 2015, Enga's long-serving and visionary governor, Peter Ipatas, was awarded a knighthood. And in 2017, Sir Peter Ipatas was re-elected as Enga governor for a 5th consecutive term.
Enga Province,
From his early days as a councillor in 1979, 2019 marks 40 years of service for Chief Sir Peter Ipatas as a leader and representative of the people. Enga has a lot to be proud of and much to look forward to, led by the man who is known everywhere as the father of modern Enga, or simply as the Action Governor.
I would like to see a very peaceful Enga province. Enga province as a province must have a dynamic economy so that the people can actually stay back in their own province. They have got good scenery, good land, they have got everything that people want to have. And so what I want to do is make sure, that into the future there is economic activities in the province to sustain the province. So once you have a peaceful province, you can have the business. So that's what I want to see into the future.
Enga Province, every stop, long hand below you. Kupela style, na pasi, na hand on you. Emma Stati, Ipatas, you action gaba, Doni Enga Province, every stop, long hand below you. Style, na pasi, na handbag from you. Emma Stati, Ita Ipatas, you action gaba na domi pala. Ita Ipatas, you election governor